Hey folks, welcome to the Rusty Snake Ranch. We are going to go ahead and install this new motor today. And we've got a Briggs & Stratton EX 1900, which is a 19 horsepower. And it's a compatible motor. We'll use this type of motor with our Cub Cadet. And in our later video, we're going to do one on a Toro zero turn. So the first thing I'm going to do today, if you will come around here, you can see that we've got an oil filter. You can also see the steering bar. And as this starts to steer back and forth on rough terrain, it's going to come in contact with this. And it's going to actually tear up the oil filter, which could cause it to leak. So what we're going to do is we're going to install a bypass on it. So we're just going to unscrew that. And since we've got another motor, we're going to hang on to that, and we'll use it whenever we need to do a replacement there. We're going to take some of that lube off of that seal because it came with a little bit of lube inside of the engine, not a lot. We're going to need to top that off, and we're going to screw that on only hand tight, just like you normally would with a filter. Make sure we don't cross thread it. Get those threads on right here sooner or later. There we go. And then, like I said, we'll do it hand tight. One of the areas we'll want to check for any oil leaks. All right, so we got that nice and tight. Perfect. All right, and we haven't bolted this motor down, so the motor is free floating. So we're going to go ahead and install some bolts here. We'll slide this forward. And we'll see this is one of the holes. Got that in there. And we'll get another bolt in the back side. And then we'll come around to this side and get 4 more in. Now the one thing is that Kohler motor had a threaded, it was threaded to the block. So the Briggs & Stratton is basically just a sleeve. So we're going to go ahead and put some lock washers from the underneath. And I'm going to use some regular washers, and then I'll use some lock washers, and then we'll do a nut on that. So we're going to have those 3 there. So I'm going to have my boy from the top side. We're going to start in the back. Over here, we'll call this 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so we're going to start in the back there, and we'll start to tighten that up. Let's see if I can get myself underneath here. I'm going to hold my 2 washers together. He's going to hold that down with his thumb so I don't push up on that bolt. And I'll just get it started. Okay, got that started. And what we'll do is we'll just tighten it a few turns. And since you're working from underneath, you're turning it the opposite way you normally would if you were looking at it top side. Okay, that's nice and snug. So we'll go to the next one. So get the boy to go to number 2. And so what we're doing is we're putting our flat washer on first. Then we're putting our lock washer. And then our nut on top of that. Again, he's going to keep his thumb on the top so it doesn't, I don't push that bolt out. Doing this all by just kind of feel. Get that started. Put it on snug with my fingers. All right, now he's got a wrench on there. Again, we'll just snug it up. Want to make sure everything is right where I want it. Okay, now he's going to come around to the back side and we'll start on the rear again, or what we designated as number 3. He's going to put his thumb over it. I'm gonna get my flat washer. Oh, doesn't have his thumb over it. About pushed it through. So this makes a good father and son project. You really need to have someone help you with this. Kind of hard to be in two places at once. All right, we'll get that one started. All right, he'll get his wrench on there. Let's give this a couple turns and get her snug. Okay, and we'll go for number 4, which is going to be that front. He'll put his thumb over it again. Sometimes it's good to remind yourself what you're doing. Oh, we pushed it up. He'll get his thumb over it sooner or later. All right. I'll get that started with my fingers. All right. He'll get a wrench on it. We'll snug her up. Okay, good. All right, while we're here, we've got our spindle. And we're going to go ahead and attach that to the shaft. And it's got a keyway cut in there. So all we're going to do is start to screw all this in. I remember it was kind of tight when we did it. So I'm going to go ahead and gone ahead and sprayed it with a little WD-40. Try to make it a little easier going back in. Main thing is we want it to be secure, tight, firm. Try not to go overboard with your tightening. In case you ever get one of these out of, the spindle's out of balance, you might have to replace it, so. Main thing is you don't want it to be loose on the shaft, you want it to feel nice and firm. See, we got a little play there, so we're not tight yet. You can see we got about 1/2 inch. I'm gonna have to go to my other extension here. I need a little bit more room to get around that bar. There we go. Just going to tighten her just a little bit more. All right, it looks good. All right, so we'll have the sun get on the back one and start with number 1 again. We'll just firm those up all the way around, those 4 mounting bolts. Okay, we'll start in the back. Got your wrench on there? Give me a yes. Okay, go to the front. Again, there's no need to over tighten these. Okay, go to number 3, which is in the back rear, other side. I'm on, let me know when you're on, just say yes, please.
Yep.
All right. Okay, go to the front. Last one, let me know when you're on. Yes.
Yep.
Okay. All right, that's good. All right, next thing we'll do is we'll do our muffler. Now, my kit came with a new muffler tube, and so it's a little longer. And then I got some new bolts and a gasket for in between. So there's your gasket, there's your bolts. It's a little different size. So we're gonna go ahead and thread that in there. So we'll thread it down into the muffler port. Sometimes you have to swivel it around there, okay? And then we've got to get that gasket in between there. This is where it becomes a little bit of a game. It's like put your finger underneath and try not to have an issue. We'll thread that screw through the gasket and the muffler pipe. Kind of get that set to the right level. Barely start that screw. Okay. Now we'll go down over here and get this one started. I might have to put that on the Allen wrench because it's kind of a tight fit. All right, let's see here. Oh, lost one of our screws there. Got that other one started though, so that's good. Just play a little hide and seek for that other one. All right. Let's see if we can see where that one disappeared to. Oh, there she is behind the spark plug wire. Oh, there we go. All right, so we'll line up that gasket, get this next one started. All right, we got all those lined up now. Now we're ready to that spark plug wire back on. Get this bottom one tight first. Snug it up. All right, we got that snugged up. We'll be back with you in a minute. All right, we're gonna go ahead and hook up the starter wire now. That's the red wire. Take the nut off. Get that positive lead on that starter. We'll go ahead and crank that down. Just firm. No need to go overboard. And then we're going to go ahead and hook up this plug. Now, you might not be able to see it, but there's a flat piece here, a flat piece here, and on the opposite side, on the middle, there's another flat piece. So this thing will only plug in one direction. Okay? So we're going to snap it till it clicks. And I heard it click. All right, make sure it's good and tight. Looks good. All right, now we're going to come to the other side of the motor. Got a few things to hook up over here. We're going to start with the throttle cable. You'll see that it's got a hook here. So you want to lead that in, just kind of like hold it out to the side. We're going to get that started. Give me as long thing as I can here. All right, got that started there. Then I'll go ahead and pull it in. And we've got our cable holder. We'll loosen that up. What it helps to have some of these shorter tools. I'll pull this out and just slide this part in. Yeah. Sometimes you change your mind as you go through things. I think I'm going to go ahead and just take this completely off here. Probably be the easiest. Might have to do an adjustment here once we get our motor started. All right. Once I get my cable in there, and I can go ahead and tighten that up. All right. Probably not going to tighten this thing down too much because I'm going to have to do a little adjustment once we start. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and hook this back here. We've got a little piece that they put on there to keep it from getting nasty. We'll go ahead and slide that on. This is our main fuel line. So we've got that squeeze clamp, and there's a filter. I don't know if you got a good view of that filter there, Nate. But we'll slide this on. Make sure it's on there as far as we can, because we've got to get our squeeze clamp behind it. And this thing's kind of cutting my hand a little bit, so I'm going to slide this squeeze clamp down a little bit further because I want to get this thing fully seated. All right. Now, anytime you're putting a new motor on something and you notice that some of your lines are longer than they possibly need to be, you might decide to come back later and take off a little bit. But, you know, because you don't want to pinch. But we're going to wait and see. I have a feeling I'm going to need to take off a little bit here because it might interfere with the steering mechanism. I'm going to move the tires back and forth here just to see. So we might do a little adjustment there here in a bit. All right, so we got our throttle hooked up, got our fuel lines hooked up, got our return fuel line hooked up. We've got everything wired in the front, everything bolted down, including the spindle. Got our muffler hooked up. So here's where we're at. We're at the point where we're going to come back to you in just a bit. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and lubricate the front of this chassis real quick. Get it off these jack stands so that we can put some oil and some fuel into it. So once I get some oil and fuel into it and I get the battery hooked up, we'll go ahead and start her up. We'll come right back to you. Stay tuned. All right, we've got everything off the jack stands. We went ahead and made sure we got oil in it. I went ahead and used a full synthetic oil. So we'll let this engine break in, but we thought we'd start it with you since we've come this far. So looks all that's left is to go ahead and reattach the hood, and then we'll go ahead and test out our mower and see if we have to sharpen our blades. So thanks again for joining the Rusty Ranch. Please like and subscribe. We'd appreciate that, and we hope this helps you. And be watching for our next video. We're going to take the same type of motor. We're going to do it on a zero turn, a Toro zero turn. So we're going to get that done here in the next week or so. And thanks again for joining the Rusty Snake Ranch.